Supreme Magus, Chapter 16 Encounters. During the following days, Lid had made several discoveries about the changes he had undergone. His body felt lighter than ever, all his physical abilities augmented, all his senses sharper and heightened compared to before. There had also been cosmetic changes in his appearance. The moles on his body had visibly shrunk. His skin was smoother than after a spa treatment back on Earth, and most of the freckles around his nose and eyes had disappeared. Lid took note of all these changes, trying to understand what had happened, but he could not care less about the beautifying effects. Even with no moles and freckles at all, he would still look like a crude hillbilly. If his mother had passed anything to him, he was unable to notice. Unlike his sisters, Lid had nothing of her beauty or grace. Elena moved like a ballerina, while he was rough and clumsy enough to feel like a caveman. Lid had a deep set of eyes like his father, a high forehead, and a nose a little too big to be proportionate to his visage. He wasn't ugly, but not even cute. The best he could give himself was a solid 6 out of 10. Lid's only hope for improvement was the teenage growth spurt to get rid of his thin and scrawny build. Figuring out the changing in his mana core required even more time. Lid understood that his mana had undergone a qualitative change, become purer and denser. This allowed him to cast stronger spells, also reducing the time he needed to manipulate elemental and spirit magic, resulting in faster casting speed. Through Invigorate, he could now spot the presence of that tar-like material scattered all around his body, in his organs, blood vessels, and even in neural pathway. Whenever he used accumulation technique, he could feel the smaller tar-like particles being pulled towards the mana core, while the bigger ones would fragment over time, shrinking in size before actually moving. Confident in his new strength, Lid started getting deeper in the woods, hunting for bigger prey. He was no longer afraid of predators. Instead of avoiding them, he started looking out for them. Lid wanted for his family to have enough fur to make a set of warm clothes for everyone. He was sick of being forced to wear so many layers of clothes during winter that he was unable to walk properly, swinging every step like a penguin. The problem was that Lid still moved through the forest, making a lot of noise, exuding enough killing intent to scare away anything that wasn't stupid or desperate enough to stand in his way. It was only thanks to the light vision spell combined with spear magic that he was able to still hunt. The spirit magic range had expanded to over 30 meters range, so he could easily kill any animal that tried to escape by climbing trees or by taking flight. When Lid wasn't able to catch anything, he would shoot down any bird that made the mistake of flying within his scope. One day, Lid was exploring a new area of the Trown Woods, hoping to find the fur-wearing mill, killing 2 birds with one stone. While looking at a small mound, his live vision spotted 3 life forces hiding a few meters underground. They were not strong enough to be predators, but they were big enough to be a perfect lunch. If those are rodents or other smart animals, there could be more than one exit. I have no time to waste. I'll force them out. After getting on the highest spot on the mound, always keeping both eyes on the prize, he used earth magic. Mana! The ground around him started to shake, making the burrow and the small tunnels collapse. The creature started panicking, taking the most direct route out. Lead started running, following their underground movements as close as possible, not letting them get out of the spirit mage range. From a well-hidden hole near a bush came out 3 big fat rabbits, 2 of them still wearing a snow-white fur. "Lucky!" Lead screamed while snapping his finger, forcing the rabbit's neck to a 180-degree turn. "I'll keep the brown white for myself, while I'll trade the other 2 pelts with Selina for some fur of lesser quality, but much more quantity. Today is really my lucky day." Lead was so used being alone in the woods to always think aloud, to break the feeling of isolation. He hung the rabbits to his belt by the ears and started walking towards Seila's house. After a few steps, Lead heard an odd sound closing in. He had never heard it before, so he started looking around for its source. Soon he could see 2 horses in the distance, galloping in his direction. "It seems I have been too loud. Fight or flight?" To answer his own question, he activated live vision again. The horses were just horses, while the men were far from impressive. The one taking point was barely as strong as Celia, while the other one behind was weaker than Raz, Lead's father. Lead forced himself to hide a cruel smile. Well, well, my first encounter with complete stranger in this new world. Are they good people? I bet that humans are humans everywhere. This would mean that they are lowlifes. I can wait to find out. Lead stood there, waiting for them to arrive. The first man was clearly a servant, dressed in a hunter suit made of leather of low quality, with a crest on both his chest and shoulders. He was unshaved, middle-aged man with pitch-black short hair, mean and angry eyes sitting on a face worthy of a mugshot. The one behind him was dressed with a suit of much better quality, probably brand new. He wore the same crest on his chest, but this one seemed to be made of silk and gold embroidery. He was a kid, maybe 16 years old, with a handsome face and the build of a swimsuit model. The tight-fitting leather emphasized his muscular body, moving in tune with his horse. Lead felt really pissed off, and he knew exactly why. I really hope he is as much of a jerk as he is handsome. Otherwise, not only I will be forced to start to believe in Prince Charming, but I will also die of envy. "Hey, kid," the servant had a rude tone of voice. "What was that noise before?" Lead put his best innocent expression, playing wolf in sheep clothes. "Good day, sir. I was just hunting. I'm sorry if I scared you." Lead's voice sounded genuinely apologetic. He wanted to give them the benefit of doubt. "Where did you get those?" he said, ignoring Lead's apologies and pointing at the rabbits. "From a rabbit hole. They are my game." Lead smiled, keeping watch on both of them. "Give them to us now. They will make a perfect muff for my mother." The handsome youth had also a beautiful voice. "If you are really sorry, you should offer us proper compensation. Even a commoner like you should know the basic of decency," he said with a mocking smile. Lead dropped the act like a live grenade. "Seriously? Robbing a kid in broad daylight? Don't you have any shame?" "Kid," the servant rebuked, "do you know who are you talking to? He is the son of Barotrath, lord of these lands. Lid started to laugh out loud. Please, Thornwoods has no owner, except maybe Count Lark. Stop swinging nonsense just to cover your sorry ass. And besides, do you know whom you are talking to? I am the Supreme Mage. See what happens when you waste your breath on commoners, Court? The young noble took up the stout bow he carried on his back, nocking an arrow. They are just too stupid in this nature of things. He shot the arrow with a perfect aim towards Lid's heart, but Lid was far enough and had kept many spells ready on his fingertips. With a wave of his hand, a strong gust of wind hit the arrow on the side, making it spin out of control before harmlessly hitting the ground meters away from its intended target. Despite being flabbergasted, the young noble was able to keep his cool, nocking another arrow while ordering Court to kill the kid. Lid raised his left hand, freezing Court in place with spirit magic, while with the right he took control of the arrow that slipped away from the youth's finger before stabbing him in the eye. The youth fell from his horse, screaming in pain. To think that I ever bothered giving you guys a chance to get out of here alive. Lid sighed, shaking his head. Wait, if you are to kill the young lord, you and whoever you love will die. Think about it. Lid started laughing again. Really? And how could they ever find out what happened here? Lid moved his left thumb, and Court noticed with horror that his right hand was moving against his will, unsheathing the hunting knife he carried at his belt. Wait, please have mercy, don't do this. You are just a kid, he begged. So when you want to kill, you kill. But when you lose, I am supposed to show mercy? The spite in his voice was palpable. Lid lowered his ring finger, bringing the knife at Court's throat. Since you are just a servant, I'll give you a clean death. With a flicker of the little finger, Lid forced Court to cut his throat from ear to ear. Then he approached the young noble, that was still writhing in pain, uncaring of what just happened to his loyal servant. As for you, you are the kind of guy I hate the most. With one hand, Lid kept him frozen at midair, while he used the other to punch him nonstop. You have everything: money, beauty, a bright future, and all you can do with such treasure is screw those who are already struggling to survive? Lid hated humans more than everything. Even back on Earth, the only thing keeping his rage in check was his responsibility towards his family. But in the new world, there was no cameras, no GPS, nothing. There was only power. And for once, he was the one holding it. You know, I have a very ill sister, Lid said after venting out. I could never practice darkness magic on living beings, because using it on animals is just plain cruel. You, on the other side, are just a monster with the face of a man. You will make a perfect specimen for my research. Thornwoods resounded with screams for hours before Death could come to claim her prize.